Okay, give me 1 minute. All right, we're live now. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Hindi University. Really excited to have all of you this Sunday. As you know, my name is Ashutosh, and we meet every Sunday 8 a.m. US Pacific time, which is time on the west coast of the US, and we learn about the Hindi language. For those of you who are completely new to Hindi University, there's a little bit of information for you about Hindi University. You can also go to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Hindi University, or our new web page, which is hindiuniversity.org, to learn about the different classes we have throughout the week, the practice sessions, as well as the Sunday class, how to join the Sunday class if you're interested in joining it, as well as the different timings when the classes are held, and a little bit information about the community, about how you can become part of the vibrant Hindi University community and engage with people across the globe to kind of augment your Hindi learning experience. Okay. So if you're interested in joining the Sunday classes, we have this Zoom link that you can use to join the Sunday classes. You can also watch it on Facebook and YouTube if you are not able to join directly on Sunday. We have a community section as well, so you can become part of the Discord group as well as the WhatsApp group. For WhatsApp, we just expect you to at least have attended one or two the Sunday sessions, so we know who you are, and that way you can become part of us. Okay. As you know, as far as books are concerned, this year's theme is simple. We've been learning or following two main books. One is Pingu Learns Hindi, which is the book written by Hindi University, and the second one is Elementary Hindi, which is the book written by Professor Richard Delacy and Sudha Joshi. Richard Delacy is also a professor, Hindi professor at the Harvard University. Okay, we are on chapter number 20 of Richard Delacy. So if you're completely beginner, I'll try my best to kind of like give the brush up of a lot of topics, but at a minimum, I expect you to know some fundamentals of the Hindi grammar. Okay. With that being said, as I said, the classes are pretty sort of like um, the way we structure it, we start simple and we build on top of it. So it's basically regardless of your level, you should be able to catch up. Okay. Um, any questions, feel free to ask. It's a pretty collaborative session, and by the end of this session, my goal is you all will be able to express obligations in Hindi. It's a very important grammar topic for pretty much most of the languages, because all languages have this notion of how do you express your obligation, right? And what do we mean by that? Like, and so we'll spend some time on that, and we'll dig deeper into how you approach it in Hindi. Um, there's some folks just joined, so feel free to let them in. I made some of the co-hosts as well, so you guys can help me there. So in general, to kind of talk about obligation, imagine you have a friend, and I'm gonna mute. Give me just 1 minute. So imagine, like, if one of your friend is sick, okay, um, if they're really really sick and there is no one available to take care of them, okay, what would immediately come to your mind? There's no other help. Jackie G, how would you?
Uh, well, in English or Hindi, sorry,
English.
English. I would say that I have to go and see them, or I must go and see them.
Yes, imagine, like, there's no one available. You can say, I must go, or
Or
I.
I need to go.
Yes. So, I mean, right now, I'm gonna take, like, what is the strongest obligation, basically. Like, there are degrees in English also. There are degrees of how you will be expressing your obligation. If it is your immediate sort of family relative, okay, and there's no other help available, you must go there, right? And there's no other option, basically. And sometimes it can be the reason beyond your control, right? I must go, right? So imagine in this scenario you have an obligation, and it's a strong obligation where sometimes the subtle differences, there are some external factors which are not in your control. Okay, I must go. Okay, so that's one way to express your obligation. Second thing is, let's go a little bit lower, which is your mild obligation. Mild obligation, which is the example that you gave, is I have to go. Okay, I have to go, otherwise, like, they have a, let's say they have a fever, and if I don't go there, if they don't take care of it, it can turn into something else. So I have to go, which is a little bit of a mild obligation. You still have to do it, right? You want to do it. Okay. The third degree is basically your moral obligation, basically. Moral obligation, which is basically, let's say the person, it's more or less recovered in the hospital, but your moral responsibility is like, I should go, just to kind of like make sure, they're recovering well. Okay. That's your moral obligation. um, so just like in many languages, Hindi also kind of breaks down this obligation into three different degrees. We'll start, typically we discuss these two in a more Hindi classes. We have covered these two quite often, the moral obligation as well as the mild obligation. Mild obligation can also come across like I need to go, basically. I need to go. Okay. And then the strong obligation, a lot of these can be expressed in many tense forms. For example, if you're saying this one in the past tense, like, my friend got sick and I had to go there yesterday. Okay. Similarly, I needed to go there. Okay. Or let's say, sometimes you want to say that, there are certain things that are happening, I will have to go. Okay, so it can be expressed in the future, or I will need to go. Okay, so bear that in mind. As we in the class, we'll do some examples, but you should always thinking about the different possibilities here, that's that you can sort of like apply upon. Okay, any questions so far? So far you've not done any Hindi, no formulas, but so far any questions on the distinction, um, on the three different levels? Feel free to unmute if you have any questions. Okay, all right. So how do we say that in Hindi? As always, I'll go over the slide and then we'll do the whiteboard session. So it's a simple formula that you will notice, basically, that we'll be using it. You can make notes of this formula, and it's a simple formula that will apply for all categories. So the way it works in Hindi is, you will use subject whenever you want to express the obligation, or the subject wants to express the obligation. Subject will be followed by this postposition ko in Hindi. Ko, because something that's basically the subject should be doing, need to be doing, or must do. So they will be governed by this postposition ko, which will be followed by the infinitive form of the verb. Okay. And we'll do examples, but I want you to at least understand the formula. What do you mean by infinitive form of the verb? Which is basically, in Hindi, as you know, to go is jana. Okay. To eat is khana. Okay. And more example, to drink, let's say, is pina. So here you will notice that all these verbs are ending with na. In English, they are basically the infinitive form, basically. So we are not conjugating them based on different tenses, but here, when you're expressing the obligations, all these verbs will be used in the infinitive form. And depending on the degree of the obligation, you can use chahiye, you can use form of hona, or you can use padna. And this is where we'll be spending most of our time today. based on the degree of the obligation. Okay, so let's say we are talking about, Jackie. Okay, and if you are talking about, the moral obligation, Jackie is your subject. You will say Jackie go, and then we are saying Jackie should go. And as I said, it will be infinitive form of the verb, which is to go. So Jackie go, Jana, and because it's the moral obligation, it would be Jackie ko jana chahiye. Okay, Jackie ko jana chahiye. Jackie should go. We'll do more examples, but I just wanted to make sure you can understand how this fits into the formula. Most of you can probably not see my screen because I'm sharing my my laptop. But as soon as, here you go, hopefully you should be able to see it now. So the way you will say is Jackie ko jana chahiye. Okay. Now basically we'll dig deeper into many more sentences. But in the meantime, if you guys have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. Okay, Jackie ko jana chahiye.
I
So
have a question, Asuji.
yes, please.
With the Hona and the Panana, you conjugate them, but with Chahiye, you don't,
That's
right?
right.
It just stays Chahiye
Yeah.
all the time. What is that? That's strange.
That's how, no, it's a very good observation. That's how the folks who develop the grammar basically, right? I mean they I mean I'm looking for the relevant example English also, but yeah, it's a correct observation. When and we will learn about it, I mean both are special things. Like chahiye is a special sort of a grammar concept which doesn't get modified. You are using anything, you will be using chahiye only, versus the other one that you're talking about, you will notice that some forms of this will change. Maybe we touch upon it again when we do the second part, right? The mild obligation, so everybody will be able to understand, the question. But yeah, it is correct, JDG.
Okay, thank you.
Now let's say, JDG, you want to tell someone that they should eat healthy food. They should eat healthy food. How will you say that?
Uh, Vishvash Kana, is that healthy food? Vishvash
You can just say healthy, and then food you can use khana.
Kana. So healthy Kana. But oh, you want me to do the whole thing? They should eat healthy food?
Yes.
Uh, un unko, healthy food, healthy kana, kana chahiye.
So now, interestingly, you will notice that food is also khana. It's a noun as well as a word. So here you're using it as a noun. Here you are using it as a verb. Healthy, you can use like swastik, which is basically, or पौष्टिक खाना खाना चाहिए. Okay, उनको, interestingly, JDG used, so what is the subject here is they, and they in Hindi is way, and as I said, the subject is governed by ko. वे and को becomes उनको healthy food और पौष्टिक खाना खाना चाहिए. Okay, any questions, anyone? Okay, let's see. Donna ji, you want to form a sentence using this, which talks about moral obligation.
मुझे ज्यादा हिंदी पढ़ना चाहिए.
Yeah, मुझे ज़्यादा हिंदी बोलनी चाहिए और पढ़ना चाहिए. Who else would like to say? Inga ji, you want to share some examples?
मुझे मुझे चलना चाहिए.
मुझे चलना चाहिए. Very good, right? Awesome. Let's see. Chelsea ji, you want to unmute yourself?
Let's see. तुमको चाय पीना चाहिए.
तुमको चाय, okay, so here you will say चाय पीनी चाहिए because chai is considered feminine, so तुमको चाय पीनी चाहिए. Okay, awesome. Shirin ji, how are you doing? Great to see you.
Thank you, Esther. How are you?
You want to share some examples, Shirin ji?
मुझे सोना चाहिए.
मुझे सोना चाहिए. Very good. Okay, I need to or I should sleep. Okay, मुझे सोना चाहिए. Awesome. Who else would like to go?
Can I try?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Say, तुम्हें सब वक्त को सच बोलना चाहिए.
Very good. Okay, तुम्हें, I'm going to write it down. So what you are saying is तुम्हें हर समय सच, read it as like the such, which is truth, सच बोलना चाहिए. Okay, तुम्हें सच बोलना चाहिए. Okay, these are all the positive sentences we are just forming. You can also use the negative sentences. Okay, and I want you to try that out now. The same thing, if you have to say with nahi, how will you say that, Jackie ji? You can just use nahi and opposite of such.
तुम्हें हर समय सच बोलना नहीं चाहिए.
So you want to say you should not lie.
Oh,
What is the opposite of such?
Jute.
Very good.
um,
Now try it out, Jackie ji.
तुमको हर समय झूठ बोलना चाहिए.
So negative, convert into negative.
Oh, sorry. तुम्हें हर समय झूठ नहीं चाहिए.
Nahi, and then
बोलना चाहिए.
awesome. Okay, तुम्हें, and this is because I didn't give you any clues, right? So great job. तुम्हें हर समय झूठ नहीं बोलना चाहिए. Let's say there's a person, he keeps on lying all the time. Okay, so we tried examples of positives, but what I'm trying to say is you can use negative also. तुम्हें हर समय झूठ नहीं बोलना चाहिए और तुम्हें झूठ नहीं बोलना चाहिए. Okay, let's try some. Yeah, go ahead.
You always go before the infinitive.
Which one?
Does
Nahi.
Nahi always go before the infinitive.
That's right. You will typically put it, before the infinitive.
So, Ashuji, so instead of saying jute nahi bolna, can you say jute mat bolna, or is that stronger?
So if it is imperative and you're using negative, then you can, use mat, jut mat bolo, because you are giving a command to someone or instructions to someone. In that case, you will put mat. Okay. But in this case, it's still sort of your obligation, right? So that's why you are not using mat here. Okay. That's what it is.
Asuji, then is harsame and hamesha, are they synonyms?
They're same. Yeah. If you can use har samay, if you replace it with hamesha, they're correct. तुम्हें
Thank you.
हमेशा, yeah, झूठ नहीं बोलना चाहिए. Let's do some more examples of it, and I want all of you to take some time and write down on the Zoom chat. Okay, one examples for the positive scenario, such as what we did. उनको healthy खाना खाना चाहिए, उनको exercise करनी चाहिए. Okay, उनको सोना चाहिए टाइम पे, उनको टाइम पे सोना चाहिए. Just like that, I want you to try the negative example. So both, one example of each. Okay.
Ashit, can I try something?
Yes, please.
कि पढ़ाने के लिए अच्छी तैयारी करनी चाहिए।
वेरी गुड। उनको पढ़ाई के लिए और एग्जाम्स के लिए अच्छी तैयारी करनी चाहिए। Awesome. So I'm going to ask all of you to write it down just so that this is like, completely clear, and then I'll try to spend more time on the last one, padega. Okay, let's see how's everyone doing. Such का मतलब क्या है? Such is truth. The way you will write it in Devanagari is like yours and then cha. Such. Jhoot is the opposite. Jhoot. मुझे सोने जाना चाहिए. Okay. Using two different forms, which is correct. Two verbs are there. Okay, let's see. Okay, very good. उनको शांत रहना चाहिए. उनको चुप रहना चाहिए. Okay, very good. मुझे डॉक्टर के पास जाना चाहिए. Awesome. Both are correct. मुझे काम करना चाहिए. Okay. Just take one more and then we'll Linda ji, you want to unmute yourself and try it out, one or two examples? If you need more time, that's totally okay. All right. So I'm going to read out some more examples from Richard Delacy. Okay, just so that it's pretty clear. Okay. Now Richard Delacy says, like, you can also say these things, in the past tense. Okay. So so like imagine you an example which is like Deepak ko jana chahiye. Okay, Jackie ji, what does it mean? Deepak ko jana chahiye. Deepak ko jana chahiye. What does it mean? Jackie ji, you probably have to unmute yourself.
Excuse me, Deepak should go.
Deepak should go. Okay. Now imagine you said this same thing, but with tha. Deepak ko jana chahiye tha. What do you think it means? Deepak ko jana chahiye tha.
That he should have gone.
Very good. It means Deepak should have gone. Deepak should have gone. Okay. Imagine similar examples. You have something like she. Imagine similar example with something sometimes with a she should not have said this. How will you say that? This is a little bit okay. It's not hard. It appears hard, but like she should not have said this, or he should not have said this. Either way is fine.
Usko. Yaha.
Okay. Usko.
Bolna. Chahiye.
Usko.
Tha.
Usko. Bolna.
Oh, nahi.
Okay.
Nahi bolna. Chahiye. Tha.
Okay. Usko. I'm gonna work on this one. Usko nahi bolna chahiye. Okay. She should not have said this. Okay.
Well, I said ta, but maybe. Oh, yeah, okay.
Usko, and then what will you use in between? उसको,
is
will you say,
or yaha,
okay, okay, you can use ये है, you can use ऐसा,
esa, ah,
both of them are correct, okay, उसको ये है, उसको ये नहीं बोलना चाहिए था,
usko yaha nahi bolna chahiye tha.
yeah, and then imagine you have this also, to you, how would you say that? उसको, there are, you have already have basically उसको, which is like वह governed by को, it becomes उसको. Now you have to you.
Usko apko yaha nahi bolna chahiye tha.
उसको, आपको, तुम्हें और तुमको, उसको, to make it simple, I'm gonna just say तुम्हें, उसको तुम्हें यह नहीं बोलना चाहिए था. This may appear a little bit of a tongue twister, so if you have any questions, feel free to sort of tell me or ask any questions. Okay, उसको तुम्हें ये नहीं बोलना चाहिए था.
So Ashuji, in that sentence, it's only the usko is governed by the ko.
उसको is what?
It's only the baha which is covered by the ko and becomes usko. The
That is
tum
correct.
does not.
No, so this is also right. तुम है, you. This is also को.
Oh, that's
To you.
tumko.
Yeah, you can say तुमको. You can say तुमको. I just use तुम्हें so that it doesn't kind of makes it harder for you. But you should use तुम, उसको तुमको ऐसा नहीं बोलना चाहिए था.
Then why wouldn't yaha become iska?
This one,
Yeah.
why will it change though?
Well, all the rest of them did.
Which one? So which one? Because it's उसको तुम्हें यह, I can see that यह और ऐसा, you can use both of them, but you are saying what will be the alternative that's coming to your mind, JDG? उसको,
Well, the vaha and the tum both get governed by ko,
that's right.
but the yaha doesn't seem to.
Because this is, you are talking about this part. What will you, in your mind, you are thinking it will be उसको, तुमको, इस नहीं बोलना चाहिए. Is that what you are thinking?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Why would anybody would like to answer that? Why we are not using is here? I'm going to write it down so anybody can sort of comment on this one. The question JDG is asking is, you have usko, tumhe, and then you have this. You should not have said this. So either it's yeh, okay, and then he's saying, why is it not yes is here? Who would like to try it out?
Because there's no post preposition.
Okay, okay. And if imagine if there's a post position, can you give an example of that? How would that work out?
इसकी इसका
Okay. I'm just thinking like, an example where you can put is, but which shows that why is it is. Okay, about this. Imagine you have something like this. She should not have said about this matter.
इसके बारे में.
Yes, इसके बारे में. उसको इस बारे में और इसके बारे में नहीं बोलना चाहिए. JDG, does it make sense though? Like in the second examples, you have यह
Yeah.
plus के बारे में.
Yeah.
Right? So when you have यह plus के बारे में, it becomes इसके बारे में. Okay? Versus in the previous examples, you just have यह. There is nothing that is telling you that the यह should be changed to is.
Or in the other case, I need this book.
You need what?
I need this book. मुझे इस किताब की जरूरत.
but then it, yeah, exactly. One is you say मुझे यह किताब चाहिए, I need this book.
Yeah, इस
Second
किताब
one
की
is मुझे इस किताब की जरूरत है.
Yeah.
Right? So that's because of that key, it becomes, यह becomes is. Okay. Michelle Ji, you were raising your hand, so feel free to share your thoughts or ask questions.
Dhanyavad, Ashutosh ji. Yes, my question is K in the construction you said iske bare mein, is it optional or do you always say K?
Yeah, it's case optional. के बारे में.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
you can say मुझे इस बारे में. When you say इस बारे में, it implies that there is a K there.
All right. May I ask one more question that's related?
Yeah.
Talking about indirect form, if I said the sentence, how was I say this? I gave them the books, but I wanted to say like the books as a form of them. How do you express that? I gave them to them for lack of, I gave them to him. I think it's a better way to say that sentence.
I gave them.
I gave them to him. Let's do that.
Okay, I gave them. So I gave them a book, or I gave them.
Sorry, let me rephrase this. I want there to be a direct object and an indirect object stated
I see. So
without
basically,
expressing it. So.
I see what you're saying. So imagine, like, you want to say I gave them these books, but let's say the reference here is books,
Yes, yeah, exactly.
right? And you are saying मैंने उनको these books to them, basically, right?
Yeah. Saying these books, but saying it as them. It's like I gave them to them. Lack of a better way to say it.
Yes, yeah. मैंने. Okay, it's weird. You would not say that even in English. You
True.
would try to take it down. So, but if you want to force it, you will say मैंने इनको उनको दिया. Okay, so
All right.
here is referring to the books. मैंने इन किताबों को उन लोगों को दिया.
All right.
Okay, and by using the nouns, you're making it a little bit easier. Otherwise, it can be tricky because somebody has to figure out what do you mean by inko unko diya. Unless both the subject and the listeners are aware of the situation and they know the context very well. Okay, if you were to say these, मैंने इन किताबों को उन बच्चों में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट, और उन बच्चों को मैंने इन किताबों को उन बच्चों में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट की. ओके, और डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किया. Then it's making it clearer that what is it in referring to, and then the un referring to. Yeah.
Yes, that makes sense. Thank you.
Awesome. Right. So this is sort of your moral obligation, right? Which is like we are using chahiye. Now we'll shift the gears and we'll do the mild obligation. It should also be simple because we have done some of it before. I'm going to read out some more examples, which is basically the moral obligations. Kavita ko chai pini chahiye thi, which is Kavita should have drunk tea. And this is again from Richard Delacy and Sudha Joshi. And Kavita ko ye 5 किताबें पढ़नी चाहिए थी. Kavita should have read these 5 books. Okay. मुझे 2 घंटे पहले घर जाना चाहिए था. I should have gone home 2 hours ago. Okay. And so these are some more examples. And now we'll go to the mild obligation. Okay. Mild obligation, as I said, can be said into the different tenses. You can say I have to go. Okay, you can also say I had to go. Okay, and you can also say I will have to go. Same thing as before. You have मैं, which is governed by ko, which is followed by the infinitive form of the verb, okay, and then followed by form of hona, okay. मुझको जाना है for present, okay. मुझको जाना था for past, and for future it would be Sharon ji. What would be for future? मुझको जाना
होगा or होंगी?
होगा. Very good. For future is होगा. मुझको जाना होगा. You can say मुझे or मुझको. Either, all of them are correct. Both of them are correct. Okay. So just like that, you can change the subject, you can change the verb and form a sentence. And I'm going to ask this time Elizabeth ji to unmute yourself. You can just play around with this subject and verb to keep it simple, and then it'll give you confidence.
Um, mm, मुझको मुझको हिंदी सीखना
Any of them?
है.
Yeah, very good. So you will say what? Mujhe, and because Hindi in this case, and that's what the JDG was saying, because Hindi is considered feminine, you will say mujhe Hindi सीखनी है. Okay. मुझे हिंदी सीखनी है. Okay, that can be translated as like I need to learn Hindi or I have to learn Hindi. Okay. You, let's say you got an engagement in India, and in 2 months you have to go there, okay, and you want to say I will have to learn Hindi because I'm placed in a rural area where I will have to rely on Hindi. How will you say the same situation now?
मुझको हिंदी होगी. मुझको हिंदी सीखनी होगी.
Very
Oh,
good. मुझे हिंदी सीखनी होगी. Okay. You can have the forced compulsion also, which is, but in this case we're still talking about the mild one, so which is correct. मुझे हिंदी सीखनी होगी. I will have to learn Hindi. Okay. Shan ji, great to have you. You want to share some examples with this format?
Oh, sure. Is it me or mujhe, or can you do either?
You try it out and then I'll help you.
Okay. मैं खाना पकाना होगा.
Okay. So it's governed by ko. So मुझे
मुझे
खाना
खाना
पकाना
खाना
खाना पकाना होगा. Okay. Let's say all of us, we are coming to your house and you have sort of like, this obligation then, right? That I'll have to cook, right? So you will say mujhe. So, the formula is subject is governed by ko if the subject is expressing obligation. Okay.
Can I ask a quick question? Can you also use parega in this sense, or
So so there are three things basically. One is the moral, mild, and then the strong obligation. Padega is like, you are basically forced to, and there are situations beyond your control.
okay?
Right? मुझे खाना बनाना पड़ेगा, right? So that you can definitely use that, right? So right after this is done, we'll go to the padega, which is basically, you have no choice but you have to cook it. Yeah. Let's say it's late at night and everything is closed, all the DoorDash and all the delivery services are done, but then you have no choice but padega. Right? Any questions on this one? So I'm going to give some more examples.
Can I ask a quick question here?
Yes, please, Charanji.
I'm getting hung up on the difference between hogi and hongi.
So in this one,
Either one, hoga or honga, like OON.
so there is a nasalized sound basically. That's what you're saying, right? मुझे हिंदी सीखनी होगी, right?
No,
So
I
you're
think there's two words here. I think one is hoga
uh-huh.
and one is honga.
Okay. So okay.
Or is there no such thing as honga?
No, there is so either you have hoga is there, you have hogi as well. You can, there will be, I mean, depending on the sentence, let's say, you change, I'm just thinking of an example. If anybody can think it sooner, you let me know. But imagine उनको कपड़े सुखाने होंगे. Okay, so let's say imagine you have an example. Basically, you have Hindi सीखनी, right? That's why it's hogi. Okay, so imagine they will have to wash the clothes. Okay, उनको कपड़े. Now try it out. Many clothes. उनको कपड़े साफ करने. What will you say?
I think I'm stuck on why would it not have been kapre saf karungi as
Okay.
opposed to we're going to say
Why will you not say कपड़े साफ करूंगी in future, basically? Okay. So I think I get it. So one is I will. So two different concept, two different situation. One is मैं, which is I will wash clothes. मैं कपड़े साफ करूंगी. So in the first case, it's a simple future indefinite. I will wash clothes. Okay. I will wash clothes. Simple sentence. There is no obligation here. In the second sentence, you have an obligation. I will have to wash clothes, or I need to wash clothes. Two different situations. In English also, one is, you in one scenario you have an obligation. In the second one, you're simply saying, I will wash clothes. Does it make sense, Sharanji? Or you
yes,
still,
yes, yes.
yeah? So in
Yes.
English also, you will not say one versus the other. It's basically, in some cases, like, I will have to, or I need to go, or I have to go, right? You will not say I go. You will not say I go to office. In the case where you have to say, I have to go to office, because there is an
So
obligation there.
I will have to wash clothes becomes me kapre saf karna hogi.
I
I
will
will
have to
have
wash
to.
clothes. So I will have to wash clothes is an obligation. So you will say the subject मैं is governed.
Mujhko
Yes, मुझको.
pre saf karna.
And then either you want to say the strong obligation, which is basically पढ़ेंगे. We have not done this one. Okay.
Right.
और मुझे कपड़े साफ, करने होंगे. You can say that. There you can use the form of होना.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
think I also get confused because if you take the sentence like, tomorrow he will be studying, that honge sounds very similar to like this, but it's
That is
different.
correct, right? Because Hona is the tricky one. Hona has miscellaneous use cases. That is totally understandable. That why you feel that Hona, how it is being used in this sentence, right? So, Linda ji.
Yes, why would you use carne and not carna?
Okay, so you can, if it, depending on the quantity of the close here, but imagine that. So what will you say? Let me write it down, both the sentences. मुझे.
Okay, so it conjugates based on the object. The verb conjugates.
That's right. You are saying
Okay.
there's already ko, there's already ko here, so now you're really going by the kapade. Right? If you are just saying मुझे shirt, one shirt साफ करना होगा. Okay, then it's shirt. If you're talking, your object is sari, और ड्रेस, मुझे ड्रेस साफ करनी होगी. Does it make sense, Linda ji? Or
Yes. And with chahiye, the infinitive will be always the masculine.
which one? That is correct. Chahiye, yeah, that's right. That was the question that JDG initially brought up, that why chahiye is not changing versus when you use the hoga and hogi, it changes. But that's
Yeah.
how the grammar is structured.
Yeah, I realized that the chahiye is not changing itself, but I didn't know that it also affects the infinitive, that now the infinitive is also changing, but with chahiye it doesn't. Okay, thank you.
So in this sentence, then you would be conjugating both the infinitive and the auxiliary, the karna and the hoga.
That is correct. That is correct.
Mm.
Yeah. The more complex sentences you make, I think my take is, at this point, it should basically, the longer you start, or the more sentences you can start sort of like repeating based on this pattern, then it will naturally come to you. If you get too stuck on the grammar, then it will continue to because then you will keep on questioning each and every part of it, right? So, and you want to move away from that. I mean, it's good initially, but then when you say a few sentences like these, it just becomes natural. Yeah. All right. All good questions. I'm going to read some more sentences for the second. Right now we started with the chahiye. We're still on the mild obligation. Then we'll do the stronger one. Okay. Second. Okay, I'm going to read some example. कल रात को 10 बजे उसे घर जाना था. ओके, कल रात को 10 बजे उसे घर जाना था. Richard Delacy could have said the same thing into 4 different sentences, which is basically उसे जाना था. Then he could have said उसे घर जाना था. Okay. Then he could have said कल उसे घर जाना था. Okay. Then he could have said कल रात को उसे घर जाना था. Then कल रात को 10 बजे उसे घर जाना था. I just broke it down for you, so that way it makes sense, like what's happening here. The base sentence is still simply उसे जाना था, which is basically he had to go or she had to go. Okay, there is a compulsion there. It's different than she went, okay, or she had gone, because those are simply like, there is no obligation there or compulsion there. Okay. Okay, yeah, this one I'm not gonna read it. Okay, I'm gonna read this one. आज शाम को तुम्हें वहां जाकर उससे बात करनी होगी. Okay, very long sentence, but read it out again. Listen to it again. आज शाम को, शाम is evening. आज शाम को तुम्हें, okay, वहां जाकर उससे बात करनी होगी. Okay, the base sentence here is तुम्हें, which is तुमको, बात करनी होगी. That's the base sentence. तुम्हें, which is to you, basically तुम plus को, बात करना is your verb to talk, होगी. Simple sentence. तुम्हें बात करनी होगी. Everything else that you see in the sentence is just filler word placed in it. तुम्हें बात करनी होगी. You will तुम्हें बात करनी होगी. You will have to talk. That's what it is. तुम्हें बात करनी होगी. You will have to talk. Okay. Then it's just like तुम्हें उससे बात करनी होगी. उससे is with him or with her. To and then more things basically. आज शाम को, this evening. Okay. Any questions on that one? I didn't write it down, but I'm happy to write it down if it is still confusing it. But if you read it out, it's not that difficult. Yes, Michelina ji.
Oh yeah, thank you. No, the sentence makes sense. My only question is baat female? So it
Yeah,
operates on karni to
yeah,
make it.
that's
Okay,
right.
that was my only question.
Anyone else? Donna?
Um,
Yeah.
so when you have like, because you can use kar to join verbs together, so you can still do that even if it's in the infinitive. So it's ja kar baat karna.
हाँ, that's right. तुम्हें वहां जाकर बैठकर सोचकर उससे बात करनी चाहिए. So you can do that. That's not a problem, right? Yeah. Donna ji, any thoughts? Any questions?
I think I'm good.
Awesome.
I,
Right.
I question.
Yes. Yes, sir.
In which one of your videos do you discuss when you use usko and inho? Because I'm still slightly confused as when we're using those. That's essentially for they in transitive verbs,
So
right?
that's right. So co, you understand co, right? The postposition co.
Yes, understand completely. It's essentially to form possession, and then there's some other small rules that apply.
So form of possession is ka, ke, and he. Okay, but co has a few use cases. Like will definitely. So the question is, where is it? If you watch the Hindi University and the video for co, you will get the different use cases of co. Okay, that's number one. So you definitely watch that. Second thing in short is whenever you're using the pronoun and you are using ko after that, वह ko, it becomes the usko. Us is the oblique form of वह and that's following ko, usko. Okay, usko pani chahiye. Okay, usko coffee chahiye, right? Because the ko you becomes, I think that's what you're asking. So my thing is, one is you watch the full video for ko, and then in this one you will come across basically the different use cases.
Because
Yeah.
it's becomes slightly confusing as when you're using instead of they, us and in, right? Because at some point instead of saying they, you start using like uske, and inho,
That's right.
like that. It's interesting when that apparently becomes something you need to use instead of just using they.
That is correct. That is correct. So it is because like in English also you are like you are using to them. It's very important to them, right? You are not missing to there, right? You are also not saying they here when you're ending the sentence. You're using a different form of pronoun there, right? Essentially, that's what is happening in Hindi also. You are just using the right form of pronoun, in those cases, in the oblique situations. If I think if it is still sort of puzzling you, definitely send me both the cases, simple case and then the case which is troubling you, and I can send you more specific sort of the video that will take you to the grammar for that. Yeah.
One quick question.
Yes.
I get like compulsion in terms of like he should go, you should go, I should go. Can it also be used, I guess, as like almost like implying that a compulsion of an event to happen, like this will like sometimes I feel like I hear hoga in a sense that it isn't like directed at me, but at some like abstract thing. I don't know if that's true or not.
Oh, I see. Okay, so basically you have no choice but to do this thing.
Or like that this event is going to happen no matter what or something. Is that
Oh,
can
yeah. So yeah, event yahan hoga, but that's not a compulsion though, or that's not an obligation. So is this something like kal yahan pe ek show hoga? Is that what you're thinking?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, that's correct, but that's kal yahan ek show hoga. There is no obligation to you for that.
Okay,
Right?
is that still grammatically the same concept or is that different?
It's a different concept. Kal yahan show hoga is like there will be a show here tomorrow. If you're saying mujhe wahan jana hoga, that's a compulsion or obligation to you, right? It's confusing because hona is used in both the cases. In the first one, it's used as a verb in future indefinite. In the second one, it's basically an obligation.
Okay, I see. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Right. So I'm gonna switch gears. I know there's a lot of questions, but I will, one is padega we can do next class because then I'll be rushing towards it. So we only have 4 minutes left. So I think why don't we do that one? We will do the padega, padegi, and padenge in the next class because it's a strong obligation. So we can take some more questions or we can do a couple of more sentences. There's no need to rush for the last one. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to. Andreji, I didn't get a chance. Yeah, go ahead.
Ashuji, I want to know if this sentence is a compulsion. मुझे concert के लिए अभ्यास करना होगी.
Okay, अभ्यास करना is masculine, so मुझे concert के लिए अभ्यास करना
होगा, is it?
That's correct. मुझे
But
अभ्यास.
is that a compulsion?
It is. There is. Okay, so it is an obligation, right? That's correct. It is मुझे.
Obligation.
That is correct. It is. If you have no choice, if you are forced to do something like this, right? We will do the next form, which is padega. But do it in the next class. Both of them are correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Sharon ji.
So every time I hear that it's, say, your formula, may plus co plus infinitive plus a form of honor, I hear infinitive and I think that it should end in na, bolna, chalna, whatever, na. But I'm understanding that the infinitive changes its agreement if there's an object in the sentence. Is that correct?
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay.
So in the first one, chahiye, you will not see this one, right? But in the later parts, definitely it's agreeing with the, if there is an object, so the number and the gender of the object, it changes based on that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Jackie ji.
Thank you, Ashuji. A quick question. When I first saw the word parna, I thought it was, sorry, but parna, to read. And I just wondered, could you please say the two words so I can try and hear the difference, please?
Oh, I see, I see. So this one, you're saying like padega?
Parega, yeah.
Okay, so it's basically you have per day ga versus padna. So padega is different than your typical padna in this case, right? So again, it's a very natural confusion. Now that you mentioned that, because in your mind it's basically why is it not like sort of your to read padna versus this?
Yeah. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I have another general question.
Yeah.
Hey, so if you have a sentence where you're using ve, ve, right? At some point, you need to start using us instead of ve, right? Okay, what causes that change? It's forget the co part, just the fact that you're using us or in. Like, what creates a change in that phrase, in that sentence that you need to, right, to start using us instead of ve? Is it because it's transitive?
Okay. Who would like to answer that? Very good question. So you have ve. When does it change to us? Okay. And it's similarly basically when you have veh. When
That
does
is what's confusing me, is the change. Shukriya.
Yes, you can't forget the co there. It's what does it.
But his question is, when does it forget about ko? What's really causing us to change from ve to us?
Shukriya.
Well, it's a post position, right? You're going to the oblique.
But what is oblique case? That's essentially the question. What is the oblique case? Why do we have an oblique case?
Because you have a co.
Okay.
Or on any other post position.
Okay. Why? What is the equivalent in English for that?
Going from he to him.
Yes. So going from he to him. Okay, so he, let's say, likes her. Can I change it to he likes, to instead of her, can I say she? If the answer is no, why cannot? Because you will be using the right form of she, right? Just like that, you know, just like that. Now, JDG, continue with your explanation. But his question is, let's say you have they need help or water. His question is, why can't I use वे here? Why do I have to use उनको? Help चाहिए.
Precisely.
Right? His question is, why can't I just use वे help चाहिए? Why do I have to use, in English it makes sense, right? But why do I have to do this one here?
Because
Maybe
chahiye,
because it is not the subject, unhe is not the subject like before in the other sentence.
Say one more time.
It is not the subject of the sentence.
That's right. That's right. Even though it's appearing in the beginning, it's not the subject. Mike, does it help or still somewhat?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
object here. It's the
yeah,
object here.
a little tricky, but yeah, I'm getting a bona fide explanation for it.
Right? At least you are getting some, like, why it's not just like arbitrarily, it's just change. Right? It's not the subject basically, that it appears like in the beginning, because it's appearing in the beginning in English, they need help. Right? It's
Yeah.
essentially in Hindi, to them help is needed.
Yeah.
That's what
exactly, exactly.
to
And
them.
probably the most common way to understand it is with pasante. If you say like mujhe Hindi pasante,
Mhm.
I like Hindi. You're not saying I like Hindi. You're saying Hindi is likable to me. It's pleasing to me. It's the indirect approach.
But if that's too difficult, why not just accept that there are some words like pasand and chahiye that has to take ko?
Yeah.
That is the rule, though, right?
That's what?
That is the rule, though, right? That Chaye and Pasand have to take on the ko. I mean,
Yes.
that is the rule for that. So yeah.
Yes, but the thing is, like, I think we can learn it from different ways, but it's that part doesn't answer, like, the root thing that you were talking about, like when things start changing to oblique case, which is what.
Yeah, it's been a little tricky. Yeah, it's been a little tricky putting that together, though. I see plenty of examples.
Yeah.
If you want to say I want some tea, so like me chai chahiye. Is it me chai chahiye, or is it mujhe chai?
Mujhko chai.
Mujiko. Yeah. Chaye and Pasand, you have to put the Mujiko. Your me is going to change to Mujiko. So just remember that for if you want or if you like something, that's going to change. But there's always little other rules that apply in Hindi.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
there's
see.
a
So
lot
only
more.
the
There's a lot more of them than just chahiye and pasant. I mean,
That's
there's a whole structure here.
mujhe
Yeah.
lag-
Yeah, I mean, if for co, I think it should have helped these examples, that even and the explanation from JDG and some other, they should have definitely give you some more sort of clues as to what's happening. But I think definitely watch the co videos. I think there are 2 hours of co videos actually. They should go over majority of the cases. Like it may not cover everything, but there are about 7 to 8 different cases that you will notice there. Yes, Michelle.
Is it okay if I ask a question that is conceptually related but a little
Yeah.
different? Okay,
Yeah.
thanks. And if you need to go, I know we're past time.
It's okay. Go for
Okay,
it.
thanks. So this Wednesday, I started learning about the causative, and I mean, I understand it conceptually, but I'm still a little confused about how many verbs can have the causative applied. So the causative translates to something like one subject acting on another to make the second object do something. So, so a sentence might be, I had him fix the car. So I was told that what you do for the causative is you take the infinitive, you chop off na, and then you add vana to the end. I was just wondering, for that formula, can it be applied to every single verb, or are there only some use cases for the causative?
Oh,
And if there's
okay.
anything else I'm missing, I'm sure there's like a lot that I'm missing.
I mean, again, I don't think it applies to all the verbs because,
Okay.
yeah, there are definitely, I mean, I have to check the exact, the category. I don't have the list, but yeah, it's not gonna blanketly apply to all the verbs, basically. Like, mujhe, like to make someone to cook food, right? Mujhe khana banwana, okay, which is basically, banana and the na and you put the vana, basically, kaam
Yeah.
karna padega, right? I will have them do this thing, basically, right? So I think conceptually what you're saying is it's correct. As far as the rules are concerned, is it going to be a standard for all the verbs? I'll have to get back to you unless like some of you already have this table in front of you of the table of the verbs, basically. Donaji, in case if you have, the or any other sort of senior students, if you have the table handy, maybe that could be a an easier way to explain that. But I can get back though in case you need, like, are you looking for the table per se about where it applies, where it doesn't apply?
Yeah, that would be very helpful. I think when I raised the question to my tutor, I kind of threw him through a loop. I don't know.
So this is like, I
Very
mean, again,
helpful, but
it's the reason it can be tricky because Hindi speakers, like just like any other language speaker, like
yeah.
knowing versus one is like it to remember all these grammar rules, like you talk to people who've done like masters in Hindi, they would not know all these rules because that's not what they learned the Hindi, right? I mean, so I
Absolutely.
can.
Yeah, I encounter that with my boyfriend. I'll ask him questions. I don't know what the causative is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this would be great.
I'm telling you, if you want to quiz the Hindi speakers, go to people. I mean, again, if you're talking to people who are teaching it, that's a different thing. But try just quizzing them why you're using, mera scooter versus meri bike, right? Try to quiz them and let's see if they can, in the 10 seconds, if they can, like, respond to you. It's not going to come in handy to them. They're not used to facing these questions. And
Yeah.
there's no mistake per se, but yeah, it's they don't, because you don't pay attention to it, like why mera scooter and meri bike, right? Why one changes. My daughter was asking me once, and she's little, but but she is paying attention to like what is happening, right? I mean, so I had to explain her how I explain it to the non-native speakers, right? That's how it is in Hindi. So I know we're a little over time, so I'm going to stop the broadcast. So thanks for folks who watch live on